Have you ever had your heart broken? I mean, really, truly broken? Think about that sharp, hollow ache in your chest, the kind that makes it hard to catch your breath. Now, imagine if that feeling never went away. It doesn't heal, it doesn't fade into a scar, it just stays. Imagine that single moment of agony becomes your entire existence forever. It's a terrifying thought. That one moment of pain could define a soul for eternity. For most of us, it's just a dark daydream. But in the bustling streets of San Salvador, the capital of El Salvador, some people whisper it's more than that. They tell stories of a figure who embodies that exact feeling. A heartbroken bride, stuck in her wedding gown, forever searching the streets for the man who left her at the altar. They call her the Phantom Bride, and the story comes with a chilling warning. If you see her face, she make you share her pain forever.
You're watching Is It Real? Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, unless you want to regret ignoring me.
Section 1. The Veiled City, San Salvador. It's a city of incredible contrasts. Tucked into the Valley of the Hammocks, it's a place that's always moving, a city shaken by earthquakes and forged in civil strife, yet it keeps rebuilding, pulsing with this undeniable energy. By day, its streets are a beautiful chaos. Markets overflow with colorful fabrics and the smell of fresh pupusas. Traffic buzzes through colonial plazas and modern buildings. You can hear kids laughing in the shadow of the Grand Metropolitan Cathedral. It's a city of survivors, a real testament to the human spirit. But when the sun sets and the volcanoes surrounding the city become jagged silhouettes against a bruised sky, San Salvador changes. The noise of the day fades into a watchful quiet. The shadows in the old historic center seem to stretch and deepen. And in these quiet hours, after the vendors have gone home and the traffic is just a distant hum, they say the city's other residents come out to walk. Not the living, breathing survivors, but the echoes of its tragedies. While many tales haunt the city, from phantom carts to well-known spirits, one story persists with a unique and human terror. It isn't a monster or a demon. It's a story of love and loss so strong, it may have broken the laws of life and death itself. It's the story of the Novia Phantasma, the Phantom Bride. Section 2. The Whispers of a White Dress. The stories always start as fragments, as half-believed rumors shared over late-night coffee. A taxi driver, cutting through deserted streets before dawn, slams on his brakes, swearing he saw a woman in a brilliant white dress step into the road, only to vanish in his headlights. A group of students walking home late at night go quiet when they spot a lone figure under a flickering street lamp. It's unmistakably a woman in a wedding gown, her head bowed in despair. They pick up the pace, a shared, unspoken fear pushing them on, nobody daring to look back. These aren't violent encounters. There's no scream, no attack, just a deep, unsettling sadness. People who say they've seen her talk about a sudden cold that seeps into the air, a chill that has nothing to do with the weather. They describe an overwhelming wave of melancholy washing over them, a sorrow so deep they feel it in their own chests, as if they're tapping into a grief that isn't theirs. For generations, these whispers have woven themselves into the city's nightlife. The ghost is always the same, a woman, her face hidden by distance or a veil, in a wedding dress that seems to glow with a faint, otherworldly light. She wanders as if searching for a face in a crowd that's long gone. She never speaks. She never interacts. She's just there. A silent, sorrowful monument to a broken promise. So what's the story behind her? To understand the ghost, we have to understand the tale people tell about the woman. Section 3. A promise made in sunlight. Long before she was a phantom, the story goes that she was a woman with a name, a heart full of hope, and a bright future. The legend has blurred her real name, so we'll call her Elena. Elena came from a respectable family. She was known not just for being beautiful, but for her spirit. She was full of life and laughter and had a deep capacity for love. Her dream was a simple one: to find a true and deep love, build a family, and create a happy home. And she thought she found it. His name was Ricardo. He was handsome, charming, and from a slightly wealthier family, promising a future of security. Their romance was picture perfect. He wooed her with poetry and flowers, with stolen glances and moonlit walks. He painted a vivid picture of the life they would build together. Elena, with her open, trusting heart, fell completely in love. She saw him as her soulmate. Her family, seeing it as a good match, gave their blessing. The wedding was planned to be the grandest event their families could afford. Elena's dress was a masterpiece of lace and silk. The historic Metropolitan Cathedral was booked. The whole community was buzzing. Elena was living in a dream, getting closer and closer to the beautiful life she was promised. She was completely, blissfully unaware that the dream was about to become an eternal nightmare.
You're on Is It Real? And you know what you need to do, don't you? Like this. Now. Share it.
Section 4. The Shadow on the Altar. The wedding day arrived, a perfect sun-drenched Saturday. The sky was a brilliant blue. An air of joyous excitement filled the cathedral. Elena was a vision. As she stood before the mirror, her eyes shone with joy. Today was the day her real life would begin. She arrived at the cathedral, her heart pounding. The pews were filled with smiling friends and family. The organ swelled, and her father took her arm. Together, they began the slow walk down the aisle. Elena's eyes were fixed on the altar, looking for Ricardo. But the spot where he should have been standing, waiting for her, was empty. A flicker of confusion. Maybe he was just nervous, running a little late. She reached the altar, and her father stepped back, leaving her alone. The priest offered a small, uncertain smile. The minutes started to drag on, each one heavier than the last. The happy chatter from the guests died down, replaced by confused whispers. The organ music faltered, then stopped, leaving a huge, echoing silence. Confusion turned to worry, and worry curdled into a cold, creeping dread. Elena stood frozen at the altar. She could feel hundreds of eyes on her, their pity feeling like physical blows. An hour passed, then 2. A friend sent to Ricardo's home came back with a grim face. He wasn't there. His family had no explanation. He was simply gone. The reality crashed down on her. He wasn't coming. This huge celebration, this public declaration of love, was a lie. He had abandoned her here, in front of God and everyone she knew, in the most humiliating way possible. The beautiful dream had shattered. The walk back down the aisle was one of shame, not triumph. The faces in the crowd were now masks of pity and morbid curiosity. The sunlight outside felt like it was mocking her. Elena didn't die that day, not physically. Her end was slower and maybe even more tragic. She went back to her family's house and just withdrew from the world. The vibrant, laughing girl was gone, replaced by a hollow shell. She refused to eat. She barely spoke. She'd just sit by a window, staring at a world that had lost all its color. Her family watched helplessly as she faded away. It was like the betrayal was a slow-acting poison. Doctors said it was a broken heart. Months later, in the quiet of her room, with the ghostly white of her wedding dress hanging nearby, Elena took her last breath. But her sorrow, it seems, wasn't ready to leave the world. Section 5. The Eternal Vigil. Death should have been the end of her suffering. But the story says the pain was too deep, the betrayal too profound. Her spirit, chained to its moment of greatest agony, couldn't move on. It remained, trapped in an endless loop of her final, tragic day. The first sightings were reported not long after she died. People in her old neighborhood whispered about seeing a flicker of white near the cathedral where she'd been humiliated. At first, the stories were dismissed as tricks of the light, products of overactive imaginations. But the sightings became more frequent, more clear. She started appearing along the paths she and Ricardo had once walked together. She was seen standing outside the house he used to live in, a silent, mournful sentinel. Her spirit seemed to be retracing the steps of their love story, as if trying to pinpoint the exact moment it all went so wrong. And so her spectral form became a fixture in the city's folklore. She was no longer Elena. She became a symbol, a cautionary tale. She was the novia phantasma, the phantom bride. Her story became a warning against loving too deeply, against trusting too completely. Her haunting isn't aggressive. It's born from an all-consuming sadness. In death, she is condemned to repeat the one thing she couldn't finish in life, waiting for her groom. She wanders the streets of San Salvador, forever a bride, on her way to a wedding that will never happen. Section 6. Encounters in the Gloom, the witness accounts. Over the decades, encountering the phantom bride has become a grim rite of passage for the city's night owls. Her legend is kept alive by the chilling first-hand accounts of those who claim to have crossed her path. Take the story of Mateo, a taxi driver who's been driving the streets of San Salvador for over 30 years. He tells a story that still gives him goosebumps. It was a hot Tuesday night around 2 a.m., the streets slick with rain. He was heading home when he saw her. Standing on a corner near Plaza Morazan, just a block from the cathedral, was a woman in a wedding dress. It was pristine, impossibly white against the wet pavement. Mateo slowed down, thinking she was a partygoer in a costume, maybe lost. He pulled over. "Senorita, necesita ayuda?" He called out, "Miss, do you need help?" The figure didn't turn. An unnatural cold suddenly filled his cab, fogging the inside of his windshield. A wave of sadness, so powerful it felt like a punch to the gut, hit him. He suddenly felt a desperate urge to cry for a loss he couldn't even name. Gripped by a primal fear, Mateo stomped on the gas and sped away, not daring to look in his rearview mirror. He says he could feel her sorrow following him for blocks. Then there's the account of a university student named Sophia. She was walking home through a quiet neighborhood, a path she'd taken hundreds of times. But on this night, something felt wrong. The air was heavy and silent. Up ahead, under a flickering street lamp, she saw the silhouette of a woman. Even from far away, the shape was unmistakable. The full skirt, the veil. It was the bride. Sophia froze, her blood turning to ice. She'd heard the stories, but always thought they were just folk tales. Seeing the figure with her own eyes, feeling the palpable aura of grief radiating from it, that was different. Sophia could only stare as the figure took a slow, shuffling step forward. The bride didn't seem to notice her. Her head was bowed, as if searching for something she'd dropped. Snapping out of her trance, Sophia turned and ran, not stopping until she was safely behind her locked apartment door. These encounters are terrifying enough, but the real horror of the legend is what happens when you don't run.
Be sure to like, subscribe to Is It Real, and share this video. But if you choose to ignore me, well, let's just say you've been warned.
His stories of those who see the phantom bride from a distance are unsettling, but they're the lucky ones. They get away with just a chilling memory. But what about those who, driven by curiosity or foolishness, get closer? What happens when you get close enough to see what's under the veil? Before we get to the horrifying climax of this story, if you're finding it as captivating as we do, please take a moment to subscribe and hit that notification bell. You won't want to miss the terrifying truths we uncover. Now, let's get back to the darkness. Section 7. The face of unending sorrow, the climax. The most terrifying part of the Phantom Bride legend isn't her ghost. It's the curse that comes with her. It's a curse reserved for those who get too close, who try to help, or who just want to get a better look. The story usually goes something like this. A young man, let's call him Javier, is out late. He sees her, a lonely figure in white, weeping softly near an old cemetery. He sees the wedding dress, and feeling a mix of pity and courage, he decides to approach her. "Senorita," he might say. Are you all right? Can I help you? For a moment, she goes still. The weeping stops. The air grows cold, thick with dread. Slowly, she starts to lift her head. Javier feels a knot of fear in his stomach, but he's gone too far to back out now. The veil over her face is delicate, almost see-through. As she looks up, he sees her features, but it's not the face of a beautiful young woman. And it's not gory or monstrous. The horror is much quieter and much, much deeper. Her face is one of decay, but not the decay of flesh. It's the decay of hope. Her skin looks stretched and worn, as if by centuries of silent tears. Her eyes are the true source of the terror. They are the eyes of Elena, but they are filled with an ocean of raw, unfiltered, eternal sorrow. To look into her eyes is to see her heart break on an endless loop. It's to feel the crushing humiliation at the altar, the slow, agonizing fade of her life, and the cold, lonely eternity of her search. There's no anger in her gaze, only an infinite well of pain. And as he stares, frozen, she offers him a faint, heartbreakingly sad smile. In that moment, Javier understands the curse. She isn't going to hurt him. She's going to give him a gift. She is going to share her burden. Section 8. The Contagion of Grief. The curse of the Phantom Bride isn't about being haunted in the traditional sense. It's a contagion of the soul. In that one moment of eye contact, the crushing weight of her eternal sorrow is said to pour from her into her victim, a psychic transfer of pure agony. The person who sees her face doesn't drop dead. They just walk away, changed. All their everyday concerns are washed away, replaced by a permanent, unshakable melancholy. They are condemned to share her unending heartbreak. From that day on, the world loses its color, food loses its taste, laughter sounds hollow. Joy becomes a foreign concept. They are plagued by a deep sadness they can't explain, haunted not by a ghost, but by an emotion. They carry Elena's sorrow with them every single day. Their friends and family watch them spiral into a deep depression, unable to understand the cause. They become ghosts in their own lives. This is the true horror of the legend. The Phantom Bride doesn't seek revenge. Her curse is a desperate, subconscious cry for someone, anyone, to understand her pain. It's a cautionary tale in its most terrifying form, a warning that some sorrows are so powerful, they're contagious. Section 9. The Phantom in the Folkloric Tapestry. To really get the Phantom Bride, you have to place her in the wider context of Salvadoran folklore. She's not alone out there. She's part of a whole world of terrifying spirits, but she's different. The most famous is la siguanaba. She's an ancient, menacing entity from pre-Columbian myths. Legend says she was a beautiful woman who had an affair with a god and neglected her son. As punishment, she was cursed to wander the night, luring unfaithful or drunk men to their doom. From a distance, she is a beauty, but when they get close, she reveals her true face, the horrifying, elongated skull of a horse. La Siguanaba is an agent of moral retribution. Then there's La Llorona, the weeping woman, a legend known all over Latin America. Like the bride, her story is one of loss. She drowned her own children after being betrayed by her lover. Now she's condemned to wander riverbanks forever, weeping, mis hijos, oh my children. Her grief is an active, terrifying wail, and she's seen as a threat to children. The Phantom Bride stands apart. Her story isn't one of divine punishment or sin. She isn't a moral enforcer. Her legend is a purely human tragedy, born in the city of San Salvador. Her only sin was loving too much and trusting too completely. Her curse isn't designed to punish vice, but to share suffering. While La Siguanaba and La Llorona are ancient legends, the Phantom Bride feels like something different, a modern specter born from the raw, relatable pain of a broken heart. Section 10, more than just a story. So, is the Phantom Bride real? Do the streets of San Salvador truly hold the ghost of a jilted bride? Unlike La Siguanaba or La Llorona, you won't find the Novia Fantasma in many official collections of Salvadoran folklore. Her story is more of a whisper, a piece of modern urban mythology. Skeptics have plenty of rational explanations. The power of suggestion, the tricks of dim lighting on a tired mind. In a city where spooky stories are common, any glimpse of a white dress at night could easily be misidentified. The reported feeling of sadness could be a psychosomatic reaction to fear, the body reacting to what the mind thinks it saw. The legend also works as a powerful metaphor. In a culture that has endured so much loss, the Phantom Bride could be seen as the personification of collective grief, a symbol of wounds that never truly heal. And yet, despite these logical explanations, the story endures. The eyewitness accounts continue, passed down as genuine, terrifying experiences. The chill witnesses describe feels real. For those who believe they've seen her, the Phantom Bride is not a metaphor. She is terrifyingly real. Maybe the truth is somewhere in between. Maybe it doesn't matter if a ghost is actually walking the streets. The power of the legend is in the emotional truth it holds. It speaks to a universal fear, the fear of unbearable sorrow, of abandonment, and of being forgotten. Conclusion: the unbroken vow. The legend of the Phantom Bride is more than just a ghost story. It's a portrait of love, loss, and an agony so deep, it seems to have torn through the veil between life and death. It is the story of a woman who was promised forever, but was given an eternity of pain instead. Her vow was to love a man until death, but his betrayal created a new, unbreakable vow to wander the world in sorrow. She remains a silent fixture in the heart of San Salvador, a city that knows its own share of grief. She's a warning etched into the night itself, a warning about the promises we make and what happens when they're broken, and a chilling reminder that some heartbreaks don't just scar you, they turn you into a ghost long before you die. So if you ever find yourself walking the streets of San Salvador late at night, and you see a flicker of white in the corner of your eye, a lonely figure under a street lamp, don't approach. Don't call out. Don't try to help. Just turn and walk away. Because some sorrows are not meant to be shared. What do you think? Is the Phantom Bride a real ghost or a powerful modern myth? Every city has its own local legends, its own ghosts who walk the night. We'd love to hear the stories from your hometown in the comments below. What phantoms haunt the place where you live? If this journey into Salvadoran folklore sent a chill down your spine, please show your support by hitting that like button and subscribing. Thank you for watching, and try not to think too much about what's waiting for you in the shadows.